The Battle of Plassey started and ended in 1757, June 23rd. This battle was part of the 7 Years' War. The battle occurred in Bengal by the village called Plassey, also known as Plassey, and the Bhagirathi River. The two sides fighting against each other were the British East India Trading Company and the Bengal side. This monument was built in memory of the people who died, were injured, and were brave enough to fight in the Battle of Plassey. This seal for the British East India Trading Company was used to represent them and their business. Robert Clive, as shown in this picture, was the leading general for the British. Although many people on Robert Clive's side did not want him to take everybody to war, he still did anyways without their permission. Robert Clive also had many disagreements with the Bengal side. He has encountered many of the people with bad situations and disagreements. Everybody that had ties with Robert Clive knew that he was a very determined person. This is an image of Suraj-ud-Dowla. He was the leader of the Bengal side. He also had ties with Robert Clive. Suraj was a very unlikable person. He had many bad qualities about him. He was selfish, he did not treat others with respect, and was very rude. He was not patient and would never listen to anybody else. Suraj was known as a Nawab in Bengal. He was the leader of people. This picture is of a man named Mir Jafar. He was the turning point in the Battle of Plassey. He is what made the winning side win. Mir Jafar was supposed to be a trustworthy person to Suraj-ud-Dowla. He took a lot of pride to himself. He thought he was a lot better than everybody else, therefore he thought he deserved more. Mir Jafar did what he thought was best for him, but he didn't think of anyone else. Previous to the Battle of Plassey, there was a battle at Calcutta. This was one of the things that caused the Battle of Plassey. Suraj-ud-Dowla managed to take many of the British and turn them into slaves. They turned them into slaves by shoving them all in a room with only 2 women. There was no room that they could use. Everybody was piled on top of each other, with hardly any water and food. Many died. Only about 2 survived. Robert Clive was one of them. The Battle of Plassey was part of the world's first global war. The Nawab's army had nearly 50,000 men, 53 artilleries, and 500 dead. Robert Clive's army had only about 3,000 men, 8 cannons, and 22 dead. When one out of the 3 generals for Nawab Suraj-ud-Dowla was killed, the whole third of the army left in peril. The British East India Trading Company used other people other than the British. Sometimes they used Eurasians because they were a lot cheaper. They used cheaper people so they could have more without having to pay as much. The main reason why the battle started was because the British East India Trading Company had been using India's land to create their profits. They were not using it wisely, though, so Siraj said that he had the right to take down their business. The British East India Trading Company obviously didn't want that, so they fought back. It just so happened that while the battle was going on, it started to rain, and Siraj ud Dowlah's army's cannons were all damaged. They thought that the British's were damaged also, so they went up to them on foot and by horse. But the British had covered theirs, and so they were perfectly fine, and they fired more at the Indians. The British tortured every Indian that they captured. In this picture, it shows how they tied them to the front of cannons. In result of the cannons, the British East India Company won. The cannon fought off most of the rest of the Bengal side. In secret, Mir Jafar went behind Robert Clive's back and conversed with Robert Clive. Robert Clive told him that if he abandoned Siraj ud Dowlah during the war, then he would be the new Nawab once the British won. After Mir Jafar abandoned Siraj during the battle, 2/3 of his army was gone. Knowing that there was only 1/3 left, everybody behind Siraj abandoned the war. They all ran, and Mir Jafar had fulfilled his part of the deal. Siraj ud Dowlah had eventually been killed, and the British East India Trading Company won the battle. These pictures show how after the battle, Mir Jafar had went to Robert Clive to fulfill his part of the deal. Mir Jafar would now be the new Nawab of Bengal. After the battle, the British East India Trading Company declared the new land theirs. They used this to profit more in their trading company and develop higher standards.